nice and dust-free. Oh, hey guys, Dalek44 here. I need no introduction, but I got one anyway. And as you just saw, I was just dusting off my Brickster minifigure. So, who doesn't love Lego? No, seriously, I haven't met one person in this world who doesn't love Lego. Lego has become very popular ever since it was first introduced to the world. Be it either Lego sets, PC games, N64 games, PS2 games, Nintendo Wii games, Nintendo 3DS games, a Legoland amusement park and resort at Windsor and various other places, a set of Bionicle movies based on the original Lego building sets, a set of Lego Star Wars specials for DVD as well as a TV series, and many others. Lego is just so popular today that it's become an even bigger franchise than what it was when it was first brought to the world. And I think it's actually impossible to not like Lego, whether you're young or old. But what if someone attempted to make a Lego movie that combined every single Lego minifigure together? Well, this movie does.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. Everything is awesome when we live in our dream.
Because the Lego movie is still in cinemas, and I won't give away any spoilers, I'll just go through a little bit of the story real quick for you. The story follows an ordinary Lego construction worker named Emmett Bukowski. He goes about his everyday life following the rules set by President Business. But one day he comes across a woman named Wildstar who is searching for something at Emmett's construction site. Emmett soon discovers an object named the Piece of Resistance attached to his back, and it lands him in a big adventure with Wildstar and various other Lego characters in order to save the world from President Business, who is also known as Lord Business, from destroying the world as we know it. And I won't give anything else away there because the movie is still in cinemas. So that's the story. So how does the whole movie hold up? Well, for the first full-length film that wasn't a direct-to-DVD Lego feature, this is actually a very good film. It's a very creative world that they created for this film, considering the fact that pretty much everything in the world is made out of Lego. Everything in this entire world is made out of Lego. The people, the animals, the buildings, the vehicles, the skies, the clouds, even the freaking water is made of Lego. And any explosions you see, they're all Lego. And the characters are very likeable too in this film. Emmett the construction worker is pretty much an ordinary guy who just wants to fit in with everybody else and thinks that everything's awesome. He was voiced by Chris Pratt, and I'll be honest, I've never really heard of Chris Pratt, but this was the first time I've heard his voice, and well, to be honest, he actually does a great job voicing this ordinary construction worker who thinks everything's awesome.
I am so pumped up!
Wildstar, voiced by Elizabeth Banks, is a tough-as-nails woman who's one of the master builders in this film. And then there's Princess Unikitty, voiced by Alison Brie, a weird unicorn anime cat thing.
Who said I was weird?
Who lives in Cloud Cuckoo Land, a place where there's no rules and where you can do anything you want.
I hate this place.
She even has a hilarious temper on her. I won't give it away, but I will say this. Don't ever make her cross. There's also Batman, the well-known DC comic book hero of Gotham City, and a master builder voiced by Will Arnett. And he's a very fun comedic Batman, sort of like the Adam West Batman from the 60s show. And he gets a lot of funny lines too.
If anybody has black parts, I need them, okay? I only work in black. And sometimes very, very dark gray.
And there's Benny, a 1980-something space guy voiced by Charlie Day. And he's another one of those funny characters, but I won't give anything away from him, but he's really funny. There's Viturius, an old wizard who's one of the master builders, voiced by the great Morgan Freeman.
That man could read the phone book and make it sound interesting.
Now let's talk about the villains in this film. Lord Business is an evil businessman who is the company president of the Octan Corporation under the name of President Business, and a tyrant of Bricksburg. Having a look at this character for the first time in trailers, I almost thought that Robert De Niro would be able to voice him, but instead we get the very funny Will Ferrell.
Fantastic.
And I've got to say that Will Ferrell really does suit the role of Lord Business, because he's one of those fun comedic villains that you're used to seeing in kids' shows and films. Lord Business is the kind of tyrant who likes people to follow the rules as they're told, and does not like creativity by anyone, even the master builders. And anyone who tries to be creative outside of his instructions will pay for it. And his right-hand man is Bad Cop, voiced by Liam Neeson. He's a police officer with a split personality, And let me just say this right now, he is one of the funniest characters in this entire film. Every time I saw him on screen, I just could not stop laughing whenever he said one of his lines.
Hi, buddy. I'm your friendly neighborhood police officer. Would you like a glass of water?
Yeah, actually, that's
Too bad.
I fucking love that line. The animation in this movie is a mix of the LEGO minifigures and CGI. And to be honest, I can't really tell the difference between both. I mean, the animation just looks so realistic that it almost looks like you're watching a fully animated LEGO movie, rather than it just being one of those CGI cutscenes from the video games. When this movie was first announced, pretty much everyone who loved LEGO was getting all excited about this. There were even people going out to buy the LEGO construction sets based on the movie. Being a LEGO fan myself, I went to see this movie the second it came out in cinemas right here in the UK. And I loved it. It was funny. This movie got me laughing all the way through it. The characters are funny, the story's really well written, and the movie even builds up to a bit of a twist and a moral at the end. I won't give it away for anyone who wants to see it, but trust me when I say it's worth watching for. This could have been just another one of those LEGO advertisement campaigns just to get people to buy their products, but it was a very well written story. And it has the right amount of comedy and story, mixing the two together to make it really great. And the jokes they have hit me every time. I've only watched this movie once, and I could find nothing wrong with it. Except for one thing. When it ended. Yeah, as soon as it ended, I wanted to see more LEGO action. This movie is just begging for a sequel. Yeah, so I would definitely say make a sequel to this film. It deserves it. And if they do make a sequel, I'm kinda hoping that they introduce more well-known LEGO characters. Like, I'd love to see some of the LEGO Island characters like the Brits to show up, or even a lot more of the Star Wars characters. Like, I think it'd be hilarious to see Darth Vader in the next film. So yeah, definitely make a sequel and introduce more LEGO characters that are well known to the world. It's one of the best films of 2014 so far in my opinion, and I would definitely go watch it again and then buy it on DVD as soon as it's released. If you're a LEGO fan, young or old, then you're definitely going to love this movie. So go out there and check it out and enjoy laughs and LEGO. I'm Dalek44 and I'll see you next time, folks. Thanks. Now that that review's out of the way, I can polish off my Darth Vader. Okay. How do these things get so dusty?
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of the team. Everything is awesome when we live our dream.
Would you like a glass of water? Yeah. Too bad.
Black. All important movie reviews start with a black screen. And music. Edgy, scary music that'll make a YouTube mum or noobs nervous. And logos. Really long and dramatic logos. Simon's Cartoons. Huh, heard it's owned by a really great guy. YouTube. The house that Dalek44 built. Yeah, whatever, YouTubers. Come at me, bros. I am your kryptonite. Not sure what Studio Solar does, but that logo is macho. Dig it. Okay, get yourselves ready for some reading. Never cruel or cowardly. Never give up. Never give in. Yeah. No, I said that. Dalek44 is very wise. I also have loads of Daleks in my house. Yeah, I got a fuck ton of Daleks. Okay, let's start the review.
Frozen!
Oh yeah. Baku?
Why doesn't anybody ever want to meet Ringo?
Hello everybody, everybody, Dalek44 here. I need no introduction, but I got my name. Have I talked about the Lego movie before? Okay, a few times. Yes, this must be like the 20th time I've gone on about the Lego movie. But as I said, I can't help talking about it since it's one of the best animated films I've seen in years, grossing over $469 million worldwide. And it was surprisingly so popular that many other movies like sequels and spin-offs and TV shows would be made after this. And with the popularity of the original Lego movie, it was only a matter of time before sequels and spin-off movies were in order. And the first spin-off for this was the Lego Batman movie. The Lego Batman movie is a 2017 3D computer-animated superhero comedy film directed by Chris McKay. The film centered around the Lego movie's version of Batman, voiced by Will Arnett, a character who was so popular that the studio decided to make a spin-off movie with him. Is the first spin-off to the original Lego movie really the best Batman movie since The Dark Knight? Well, let's have a look and find out. Within the Lego universe, Batman continues to protect Gotham City and fight crime. During his latest mission to stop the Joker from destroying the city, he hurts his arch-rival's feelings by telling him he is not as important in his life as he thinks he is, leading Joker to seek the ultimate revenge on him. The following day, Batman's alter ego, Bruce Wayne, attends the city's Winter Gala, which is celebrating both the retirement of Commissioner Gordon and the ascension of his daughter Barbara as the city's new police commissioner, only to be infuriated by Barbara's plans to re-instruct the police to function without the need of Batman. Without warning, the Joker crashes the party with the city's other villains, all of whom surrender, with the exception of Harley Quinn, who disappears during the confusion. Suspecting his arch-rival is up to something, Batman plots to steal Superman's Phantom Zone projector, a device that can banish anyone to the Phantom Zone, which houses some of the most dangerous villains in the Lego multiverse. Just as he plans his heist for the device, Alfred intervenes and advises him to take charge of Dick Grayson, whom Bruce unwillingly adopted at the gala. Reluctantly agreeing to do so, Batman fosters Dick as Robin, whereupon the pair successfully recover the projector from the Fortress of Solitude and break into Arkham Asylum to send the Joker to the Phantom Zone. Suspecting his arch-rival wanted to be sent there, Barbara locks up Batman and Robin for their reckless actions. While the projector is being seized as evidence, Harley steals it back as part of the Joker's plan and frees him, allowing him to return to Gotham with all the villains he had recruited in the Phantom Zone. Realizing that the city needs him, Barbara releases Batman and Robin and teams up with them and Alfred to stop the Joker. And with the help of Barbara, Robin and Alfred, Batman must learn the meaning of family and teamwork and friendship to stop the Joker's hostile takeover. So how does the Lego Batman movie compare to other Batman films that have come out recently? The critics are right, it is the best Batman movie since The Dark Knight. This movie has a ton of references to all the Batmans that existed in the past, from the comic books to the movies and even the TV series with Adam West. As Alfred states,
Sir, if you don't mind my saying, I am a little concerned. I've seen you go through similar phases in 2016 and 2012 and 2008 and 2005 and 1997, 1995, 1992 and 1989 and that weird one in 1966.
There's even little nods to Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice and the Suicide Squad film, as Batman points out that the Suicide Squad team-up of supervillains is a stupid idea. And there are so many references in this movie that I could go on all day just talking about them. But most of them you'd have to be a true DC comic follower to even get first time round. Will Arnett returns in this movie as Batman, the superhero of Gotham City, and the man who works alone. As I said before, this is a really funny version of Batman, sort of being like the Adam West version of the series where he takes things seriously, but adding his own edge to it where he's egotistical and self-centered. And they added some new stuff to him, like the fact that he likes to sing songs about how he's beaten the crap out of all his villains, and how he loves to eat lobster for dinner when he gets back from fighting crime, and how he broods over his family's loss and his greatest fear being part of a family again and letting new people into their life just to lose them again. And that just makes Batman a more likeable character than they would have done in the movie if they hadn't added those things in. They could have easily just made this version of Batman an unlikable dick. But because of his backstory and how his parents died when he was at a young age, you can understand why he is the way he is. and he's really funny to watch. There's Michael Cera as Dick Grayson, aka Robin, Batman's newly adopted son. This version of Robin is just so gullible in how he loves Batman, how he's a huge Batman fan, and how he just wants to be part of a family. Even if he's being disciplined, he's just happy to be parented, which I find hilarious. When I first saw Robin in the LEGO Batman movie trailers, I was assuming that he was going to be an adorable version of Robin. And I was right. And it's also quite funny the fact that Robin's costume comes from a Batman costume that was called Reggae Man. That's just really clever in my opinion. There's Rosario Dawson as Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl, the newly hired police commissioner of Gotham City, and the speech she makes in the gala is very true. Even though Batman does stop these criminals and sends them to jail or they get away, they're never truly defeated, as they usually get away from Batman or they escape from Arkham again. So her methods to having the police force work with Batman to join forces and team up, it's really a good idea, even though Bruce Wayne doesn't really like the idea since he works alone. There's Ralph Fiennes as Alfred Pennyworth, the butler and mentor and father figure of Bruce Wayne, aka Batman. For the part of Alfred, I don't think this movie could have gotten a better pick than Ralph Fiennes. Like all the other actors who came before him, like Michael Caine and Jeremy Irons, he owns the part. Ralph Fiennes just adds to the charm, sophistication, and all-around Alfredness of Alfred. And one of my mates has told me that he sounds like the Alfred from Batman the Animated Series in the 90s. And rewatching this film a few times, I can see his point, and I can hear similarities to the original Alfred voice. And I love how Alfred goes out of his way to take care of Bruce Wayne, as well as teach him about being part of the family again and letting more people into his life, even if it's not easy to take care of the guy. Then there's the Joker, Batman's greatest enemy, the clown prince of crime, and the main villain of this movie, voiced by Zach Galifianakis, who you may remember from the Hangover films. This version of the Joker isn't exactly the psychopathic killing maniac that we know from the comics and the movies. He's more like a super obsessive supervillain who just wants Batman to admit that he's his greatest enemy. And as he points out during the climax, that the Joker and the Batman have been fighting each other in the comic world of Batman for 75 years. And that Batman has never once said, "I hate you, Joker," to the Joker. And I've heard from my friends that that's true. In any free version of Batman, Batman has never literally told the Joker that he hates him. So this was really the first time that Batman has ever literally told the Joker that he hates him. The best way to describe the Joker in this movie is not the Joker that we all know and love, but more of a kid-friendly Joker. Like more kid-friendly than the Mark Hamill version. And I love the idea that he wants to be Batman's greatest enemy and will do whatever it takes to make Batman admit it.
There's only one problem. Who's gonna defuse the bomb? It's gotta be one or the other, Batman. Save the city, or catch your greatest enemy.
And the Joker's design is a really great design. It's almost like a version of the Joker from the Batman from the early 2000s cartoon, where he has wild hair and very cartoonish teeth. Except here they gave him fangs, which gives him a very cartoonish feel. And I love during the airplane heist in the beginning of the film, which sort of pays homage to The Dark Knight Rises when Bane attacks an airplane, where the Joker announces himself to the pilot, but the pilot just looks at him like, yeah, this is just another day at the park for me, because he knows that Batman's going to stop him. As if he's been through this kind of thing all his life.
You should be terrified.
Why?
Because I will be taking over the city. What?
Batman will stop you? He always stops you.
No, he doesn't.
What about that time with the 2 boats?
This is better than the 2 boats. Well, tonight is going to be different. Trust me, Batman's never going to see it coming.
Like the time with the parade and the Prince music?
Hey, quiet!
There's his girlfriend Harley Quinn, voiced by Jenny Slate, and she's the Harley Quinn that we all know. And I love her design in this movie. And she's sort of like a cool girl with her roller skates, her jacket, her red and black hairdo, which is really cute, and the fact that she wears a Smilex shirt, which if you may remember was the laughing gas that Joker had in the '89 Tim Burton film. And there's plenty of Batman's other villains in this movie, including the Riddler, Scarecrow, Bane, Two-Face, Catwoman, Clayface, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Penguin, Man-Bat, Captain Boomerang, Egghead, the Red Hood, Dr. Hugo Strange, Killer Croc, Magpie, Mutant Leader, Crazy Quilt, Eraser, Polka Dot Man, The Mime, Tarantula, Kintut, Orca, Killer Moth, March Harriet, Zodiac Master, Gentleman Ghost, Clock King, Calendar Man, Kite Man, Catman, Zebra Man, and the Condiment King from the Batman the Animated Series.
Okay, are you making some of those up?
Nope, they're all real. Probably worth the Google.
And for those of you who haven't seen this movie yet, beware, because there's a huge spoiler in it. When we go to the Phantom Zone, we learn that there are many different villains from the LEGO universe as well as other franchises. The villains from the Phantom Zone include Medusa, the creature from the Black Lagoon, Dracula, King Kong voiced by Seth Green, the Daleks from Doctor who everyone describes as
British robot. Ask your nerd friend.
the Wicked Witch of the West and her flying monkeys from The Wizard of Oz, the Kraken from Clash of the Titans, Agent Smith and his clones from The Matrix, the Great White Shark from Jaws, Voldemort from Harry Potter, the Eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings, a couple of dinosaurs from Jurassic Park, and the Gremlins. And when I saw this movie with a friend of mine, the LEGO Dimensions video game immediately popped into his head, since a lot of these characters appeared in the LEGO Dimensions game. So to him it was sort of like LEGO Batman meets LEGO Dimensions. Which is kind of funny, since these characters did appear in the LEGO Dimensions video game. And I love the design of the Daleks in this game. It sort of takes reference to the multicoloured Daleks from 2010. And if they bring out future LEGO Batman movie and sets in the future, then I'm honestly hoping that they do one with the Daleks, all 5 of them. And a lot of the character designs pay homage to various versions of the characters. Like, I love how Mr. Freeze's design is sort of a mix between the animated series Mr. Freeze from the 90s, as well as Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin. Mostly the mecha suit. And I love how Billy D. Williams' Two-Face is a mixture of the various Two-Faces that existed in the past. Like Billy D. Williams' Harvey Dent, Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face, the Dark Knight Two-Face. It's just a great mix of 3 versions of Two-Face. I also love how Bane seems to have the appearance of the comic book version of Bane, as a big, thick, muscle-bound guy, along with the jacket and the voice of Tom Hardy Bane from The Dark Knight Rises.
Batman, what are you doing?
Punching Bane.
That was unnecessary.
Like the LEGO movie, the animation in the LEGO Batman movie is top-notch. Every single scene you watch with this movie, it really does look like they are buildable characters that you can literally pick up and play with and rebuild. Like the original LEGO movie, the visual effects in this film are amazing and just look like they're really there to me. And yeah, the water and a lot of smoke in the background may be realistic, like not actually built to LEGO, but I honestly don't mind that. The animators just went through a huge deal to make it seem as realistic as possible, as if it's something that you can actually buy and build and play with for a ridiculous price. I mean, seriously, have you seen how much a small set is going for nowadays? I recently bought a small LEGO Star Wars set of Darth Vader's transformation from Revenge of the Sith, and it was like $19.99, which I personally think is a bit steep. But I digress. So I'm going to have to agree with the critics and the DC Batman fans. This movie definitely is the best Batman movie that's come out since The Dark Knight. This movie can be described as a parody of Batman, as well as a tribute to everything Batman, from the comic books, to the TV shows, to the movies, and just everything Batman. Is just a great movie. And if this movie is popular enough, then I think they should consider making a LEGO Batman movie sequel. Like, wouldn't you love to see more of the Justice League, more of Batman's other villains, and probably even some villains that we never got to see in the films? Like perhaps Slade from Teen Titans, aka Deathstroke. And perhaps giving some of the other villains that showed up in this movie a bit more screen time. Like, who here doesn't want to see Billy D. Williams as Two-Face again? Yeah, Billy D. Williams himself voices Two-Face for the first time. And those of you who've watched the Tim Burton Batman film from 1989 may remember that Billy D. Williams played Harvey Dent in that film, but we never actually got to see him as Two-Face. So this film makes our dream come true, and we finally get to see Billy D. Williams' Harvey Dent as Two-Face, in LEGO form. And that's friggin' awesome. If you want a movie that represents Batman from the comics, the TV shows and the movies in the right ways as a parody and a celebration, then this is definitely the movie to go to. Much like the original LEGO movie, the LEGO Batman movie is a great film to add to your collection if you're a DC fan, Batman fan, LEGO fan, or animation fan, or movie fan in general. And if you haven't watched this film yet, then definitely go check it out. It's worth the watch, and it's got great bad action. I'm Dalek44, and I'll see you next time, folks. White. All important movie reviews end with a white screen. And some random shit. Yeah, I'm a Lego guy surrounded by character building Daleks. Big what, wanna find about it?
Are you making some of those up?
Nope, they're all real. Probably worth the Google.
Hey guys, Dalek44 here. I need no introduction, but I got one anyway. Well, it's that time again.
To make fun of people in Range Rovers?
To discuss how cute I am.
Oh, you idiots. It's Father's Day. Yep, Father's Day. A celebration honouring fathers and celebrating fatherhood. Much like Mother's Day, it's a great way of showing your father that you love them. With gifts, cards, sweets, and many other things. And what better way to celebrate this day dedicated to fathers than by reviewing the Lego Ninjago movie.
Your heroes on the way. We love to save the day. Gonna reach that place that takes us higher.
The Lego Ninjago movie is a 2017 computer animated movie as well as the third installment in the Lego movie franchise. Based on the popular Lego sets for Ninjago. Is the third installment of the Lego movie franchise as awesome as the first two installments of the Lego movie franchise? Well, let's have a look and see. A young boy ventures into an old relic shop where he meets a mysterious owner, Mr. Liu, played by Jackie Chan, who begins to tell the boy the legend of Ninjago, a city within the Lego universe that is frequently terrorized by the evil Lord Garmadon, who is the father of Lloyd Garmadon and ex-husband of Coco. Ninjago despises Lloyd for being Lord Garmadon's son, which puts Lloyd under emotional stress.
That is the saddest thing I ever heard ever.
They do not know that Lloyd is part of the secret ninja force, consisting of Nia, Zane, Jay, Cole, Kai, and their master, Wu, also voiced by Jackie Chan, who always stop Garmadon from taking over the city by fighting with mechs, much like Power Rangers. On Lloyd's birthday, Garmadon attacks the city once again, only to be defeated. After his defeat, he begins to plan a big attack to conquer Ninjago. The next day, Garmadon attacks the city with his giant mech and defeats Lloyd. As Garmadon declares his rule over Ninjago, Lloyd returns with the ultimate weapon. He fires it, revealing it to be a laser that attracts a real-life cat named Meowthra. Meowthra starts destroying the city while trying to get the laser, much like a cat would.
Well, obviously.
Garmadon points the laser to make the cat destroy the other mechs, before Lloyd breaks it. As Garmadon celebrates his victory, Lloyd reveals that he is the Green Ninja and tells Garmadon that he wishes he weren't his father, leaving Garmadon confused. Lloyd meets up with his friends and Master Wu, who are all upset with him for using the weapon. Wu tells them that they must use an ultimate weapon to stop Meowthra from destroying the city, which they would reach by crossing the Forests of Danger, the Canyon of Death, and the Temple of Fragile Foundations. Garmadon overhears Wu talking about the weapon and follows close behind. And the race is on for our ninja team to save the city of Ninjago and for Lloyd to reconnect with his father Garmadon. That's the story of the Lego Ninjago movie, so how is it compared to the Lego movie and the Lego Batman? Well, it's not exactly up there with those two, but it's still a fun film. From the trailers, it's obvious that this movie is a father-son story, but it's also one of those high school superhero movies, much like Power Rangers. At first the movie gives us an impression that it's going to be a high schoolers and superheroes kind of thing. And it does start off that way. And then it turns into a father-son story. I get the feeling that a lot of fans would have liked this more if this was just a high school superheroes movie. But then they had to throw in that father-son thing that's been done to death in many films and TV shows. And many people could say that the relationship between Garmadon and Lloyd is a more comical take on Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader from Star Wars, with one being a hero and the other being a villain.
The Lloyd? That's right. It's me, your son. And it's Lloyd, Dad.
No. L-L-O-Y-D. I named you.
You ruined my life. How could I ruin your life? I wasn't even there.
And while this movie has an interesting array of characters, there are only a few characters that get a huge time in the spotlight. There's Lloyd Garmadon, played by Dave Franco, the Green Ninja, leader of the Secret Ninja Order, Lord Garmadon and Coco's son, and Master Wu's nephew. I see him as a young teenager who's going through a lot of stress in his life, what with being the son of an evil dictator and having everyone hate him. And the only way he gets people to like him is when he's the secret Green Ninja that nobody even knows is him.
It's okay, Lloyd. Nobody's parents are perfect.
I mean, my mom is weird and collects seashells. Your dad levels cities and attacks innocent people. So, they've all got their quirks, you know?
It's a very nice way to teach kids that you should never judge a book by its cover. And just because someone's father is an evil overlord, that doesn't mean the son's going to be like the father. So, really, he's kind of like the angry teenage kid who just wants his father to be a good guy and he just wants to be accepted by everyone. And his friends include Kai the Red Fire Ninja, Jay the Blue Ninja of Lightning, Nia the Silver Ninja of Water, Zane the Robotic White Ninja of Ice, and Cole the Black Music-Loving Ninja of Earth. I would talk about their character traits, but the movie doesn't really focus on them enough to give them good character traits, apart from their general interests. Like how Cole loves playing music, Nia likes motorbikes, and Zane's a robot trying to act like a human. They're not bad character traits, but they're not enough to make them relatable as characters, which is a real shame because the Ninjago TV series on Cartoon Network gave a lot more time to develop their personalities, especially with the relationship between Jay and Nia in the show. Now, I thought we did get a hint to it when they hugged each other when the building was collapsing, but that's about it. Now, I wouldn't mind so much if they gave a little time to show off a bit of their relationship with each other, but the movie doesn't really give them enough time to shine in order to do that. There's Master Wu, the wisecracking leader of the group, and Lord Garmadon's brother and Lloyd's uncle. As soon as I heard that Jackie Chan was going to play this character, it got me and my mother immediately hooked for it, because we love Jackie Chan, and pretty much everything he's in is always going to be funny. And his character is no exception. He's like this wise old leader of the ninja group, as well as wisecracking. And he's one of the only other characters that gets enough screen time to develop a personality. And I don't think you could have gotten a better guy to play him than Jackie Chan. He just sounds the part every time he's on screen. He also plays the elderly shopkeeper who appears in the live-action parts of the film explaining the story of Ninjago. Then there's Lord Garmadon, played by Justin Theroux, the Dark Ninja, an evil overlord, father of Lloyd, ex-husband of Coco, and brother of Master Wu. He's the typical Saturday morning cartoon villain that just keeps trying to take over the city of Ninjago but always fails and just keeps trying again. So he's one of those persistent villains who's also a terrible father.
Scale of 1 to 10, how bad is it? Oh, I'd say it's about a 7-point arm ripped off.
And even though I've never watched the TV series, I think they did show off some personality to him where he used to be a good guy but then became evil through possession. But in this movie you get the idea that he was born evil and just loves evil things. And besides all that, there's not really much to his backstory besides how he met Coco and how they gave birth to Lloyd, and how they got separated from each other. Besides that, there's not really much to him other than the fact that he's a hilarious villain. I don't know if this version of Garmadon was born evil or had to go through some sort of crazy series of events that made him evil, but he's just a delight to watch. And some could say that he's kind of on the same level as Lord Business from the first Lego movie, since they're both tall characters. But one of the things that makes Garmadon different from Lord Business is the fact that he has 4 arms instead of 2. And I think that's a very interesting minifig design, just this tall character that has 4 arms. And the majority of the lines they give him are pretty damn hilarious. And there's various other characters, including Coco, Garmadon's ex-wife and Lloyd's mother. She was formerly known as the legendary Lady Iron Dragon, an old hero of Ninjago. She's the sort of mother who just wants her son to be happy and fit in with everyone else. But besides that, there's not really much to her. So that's the main characters, and how are all the other characters in the movie? Well, to be honest, I kind of find myself hating a lot of the side characters. Like, the main characters are your typical heroes and typical villains, nothing really to complain about there. But the rest of Ninjago are just too damn mean in this movie. And I suppose that's quite funny for me to say, since I watch shows like The Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad and the South Park that have all sorts of mean characters who do stupid things. But the people of this world are kind of like the citizens from Chicken Little, who are just constantly harsh and never give a break to the main character. The world of Ninjago in this movie is kind of like the world in Chicken Little, where the characters are too mean-spirited to just never give a break to the main character. Except here it's tolerable because the main character's dad is an evil overlord that destroys the city. And besides that, there's not really much to them except for the fact that they're mean assholes towards Lloyd just because of his father and his backstory. The animation in this movie is of course CG like in the previous films, and they give you the illusion to make it look like it's a stop-motion Lego movie with some real-life elements mixed into it. Like, do you remember how in the Lego Batman movie where smoke and water and whatnot was all realistic stuff, and compared to the first Lego movie where everything was made out of Lego except for the relics? Well, here it's sort of 50-50, where most of the city and the people and the animals and whatnot are all made of Lego, whereas Meowth and grass and trees and whatnot are all real-life elements. Even the water's real life. This gives you the feeling that this could have come from one of the Lego TV series or TV specials or the video games, where you've got a lot of Lego elements as well as real-life elements. Now, I've got nothing against that, but it just kind of feels out of place in this Lego movie universe. But then you could make the argument that this is probably a child and his friends or father playing with Legos in their back garden. I mean, that's the idea I got from it. At first I was kind of about the style of animation with realistic stuff mixed in with the Lego stuff. But I've learned to tolerate it because I see it as like children playing with their Lego sets in the back garden or something. Before they revealed that this was a world in China, I honestly thought that it was Lloyd playing with his father in the garden. But no, it's a different story that's probably taking place in the same universe as the first 2 Lego movies. And aside from relatable characters and asshole of citizens, there are a lot of funny moments in this movie. Like the majority of the stuff that Master Wu and Lord Garmadon say, as well as a few funny jokes. Like every time Garmadon comes to invade the city, everybody yells out his name. Even a freaking baby yells his name. And there's hilarious moments where Garmadon gets so pissed off of his minions that he ends up firing them. Literally firing them. I mean, every time he fires one of his generals, he literally fires them out of his volcano. That would just have me on the floor every time I watched it in the cinema. And there's another hilarious moment where Garmadon butt dials Lloyd, and his phone says, "Do not answer." That's a pretty specific message to put on your phone for a guy that you don't want calling you. I wish I had that kind of thing on my phone when chuggers call me. I also love how they build up Meowth as this big, scary monster, and then just reveal it to be just a normal cat. And I find it amazing that they used an actual cat on a green screen to make it look like he's actually in this Lego world. I mean, it's just creative how people can see this harmless cat as this big, giant monster that'll destroy everything. It's just hilarious. And there's also downsides to the humour as well. Not the actual humour itself, but the fact that there's some humorous moments that never made it in the final film. I mean, if you watch the teaser trailers, then you see a lot of things that never made it into the final cut, like a very different take on Lloyd's reveal to Garmadon. I mean, they still use the whole Lloyd thing and "you ruined my life, how could I ruin your life, I wasn't even there." But it's played very differently in the trailers, as all the ninjas are around Garmadon when it happens. But in the final cut of the film, it happens after Meowth destroys the mechs. And the one thing I find really annoying that didn't make it into the final cut is an exchange between a bride and a groom during one of Garmadon's attacks. Like, watch it.
So, I'll go now. I promise I'll never forget you.
I didn't ask you to promise that. Come back.
That was bloody hilarious, and I still don't understand why they didn't put it in the final cut. This could have easily played a part in one of Garmadon's 2 attacks on the city, and it still bugs me why they never put it in the final cut. I honestly think that a lot of people in the cinemas would have laughed their heads off at this scene, just making fun of how the Lego minifigure's legs connects in with the plates, giving it some Lego movie humour into the world like the previous films did. But aside from those few nitpicks, the Lego Ninjago movie isn't the best out of the Lego movie franchise, but I'd say it's at number 3 in the top 3. It's got a lot of humorous moments, some enjoyable characters, most of the side characters being assholes, and it also has a reference to Unikitty in the movie. Well, not a very big reference, but if you look at one of the side characters near the end of the film, they're wearing some pink clothes that has Unikitty's face on it. And that character's even made it in the Lego Ninjago movie minifigures blind pack series. As soon as that came out, I just had to have it. I didn't care how much it would cost me or how silly it would have been just to look for that one specific figure, but I just had to have it. So yeah, even though it's not as up there with the Lego movie or the Lego Batman movie, it's still an entertaining film in the Lego movie franchise. And it's definitely worth a watch if you love Lego and Ninjago. So even though this isn't the strongest of the Lego movie franchise, it's still worth a watch, especially if you love Lego and Ninjago. In fact, this movie was so popular that, like the Lego movie and the Lego Batman movie, it got its own video game. So if you come across this film in the DVD shop, then I'd highly recommend getting it, just for your love of Lego and Lego Ninjago if you're a fan of Ninjago. I'd suggest you put it on and have a good time with Lego Ninja action. Well, I hope you enjoyed my review of the Lego Ninjago movie, folks. And remember to send your love to your fathers. I'm Dalek44, and I'll see you next time, folks. Bow ties are cool.
Your heroes on the way. We love to save the day. Gonna reach that place. Come on, Ninjago.
I promise I'll never forget you.
I didn't ask you to promise that. Come back.
Oh, man.
Hey guys, Dalek44 here. I need no introduction, but I got one anyway. With the box office success of the Lego movie, it only made sense to do more movies and shorts based on the film. The first one being the Lego Batman movie starring Will Arnett's Batman, the second one being the Lego Ninjago movie centered around the Ninjago franchise, a 4D adventure film at Legoland theme parks, as well as a couple of shorts and TV commercials and whatnot based on the characters. They've even made some video games based on the movies, with the Lego Movie video game, Lego Dimensions featuring the Lego Movie and the Lego Batman movie as level packs, and the Lego Ninjago movie, and the soon-to-be-released Lego Movie 2 video game. And then this year we got to the Lego Movie 2, or the Lego Movie 2 the second part, depending on which region you're from. But before the movie was even released, there was actually a Turkish Airlines video with the characters doing safety checks on the airplanes.
Attention to all passengers on this flight. We're gonna have a good time in the air tonight. It's some party in the sky, let's pack our gyms and fly. It's some party in the sky, let's pack our gyms and fly.
On the 1st of August 2018, a short film marketed as a promotional tie-in and teaser to the Lego Movie 2, titled Turkish Airlines Safety Video with the Lego Movie characters. It was an airline safety video featuring characters from the Lego Movie franchise and was developed as part of a partnership between Warner Bros. And Turkish Airlines. The video is presented by Emmett and Lucy while featuring cameo appearances from multiple characters across the different areas of the franchise. As you'd expect from anything by the Lego Movie franchise, it's funny, got the great characters we all know, and has some of the jokes and references from the previous films. And they talk about the basic safety features of flying on an airplane, like stowing your luggage, putting on your seatbelts, no smoking, turn off your electronic devices, put your devices on flight mode, and whatnot, and all that, and evacuation procedures. But it's more fun here because they use the LEGO Movie characters to demonstrate this. Like they have Emmett and Lucy going through the basics, Will Arnett's Batman doing a hilarious celebrity cameo, doing the no smoking thing, and of course being his same old egotistical self.
Batman, you want to sit next to me?
No, I fly biz class.
There's a hilarious father-son moment between Lloyd and Lord Garmadon. There's a very catchy song about safety, played by Unikitty, who I'm sure was voiced by Alison Bray for this one.
Stop! It's gonna get stuck in my head. No one wants to hear a song about safety.
They even give some of the DC heroes like Flash, Superman and Green Lantern a spotlight in this one. Obviously because the actors must have been busy at the time, they could only get Will Arnett and probably Alison Bray to do their characters, while all the other characters were done by imitation actors trying to do impressions of the other actors. The airline safety videos are a hilarious combination of the many characters from the LEGO Movie franchise, and it's just a great fun video to watch if you're about to fly on an airplane or just want to see some more LEGO Movie hilarity. And the first safety video got so popular that when the movie was released, they decided to do another one with characters from the first three movies, as well as characters from the sequel. Yeah, the first airline safety video was so popular that on the 7th of February 2019 another one was released with sequel characters. But they spiced this one up a little bit by having one of the executives at the Warner Brothers studio asking the characters to do another safety video, and they spiced it up even more by having Batman himself direct it. And like the first one, they go through the various safety features, no smoking, put on your seatbelt, evacuation procedures, safety, and so on and so forth. But to spice it up a bit, they have Batman take all the characters to different countries around the world to do all these safety checks. They go to Japan for Unikitty's talk on air flight safety mode and switching off electronic devices, which is actually really fitting since Unikitty is quite like an anime character when you look back at it.
Set phones and all electronic devices to flight mode. All devices with no flight mode must be switched off. I said turn them off.
They even give Rex Dangervest, General Sweet Mayhem and Queen Whatever Wanabe their time in the spotlight for this one, which made sense since this video was made the day before the LEGO Movie 2 was even released in cinemas. And while they still got Will Arnett to voice Batman for this one and the original actors for Sweet Mayhem and Queen Whatever Wanabe, this time they couldn't get Alison Bray to do Unikitty, so they got Tara Strong to do it instead. Which makes sense since she voices the character in the Cartoon Network TV show. Yeah, while they still got Will Arnett to voice Batman for this one, they managed to get the original actors for Sweet Mayhem and Queen Whatever Wanabe to come in to do this. But like the first one, the original actors for Lucy and Emmett don't show up, and they didn't even get Alison Bray to do Unikitty, instead getting Tara Strong to do the voice. Which really does make sense since she voices the character in the show on Cartoon Network. But despite the lack of original voice actors coming in to do this, the shorts more than make up for it by having great humour and great animation. In fact, the more I look at it, the animation looks exactly on par with the movies on the big screen. Almost as if the original studios and animation companies that worked on the big screen movies actually worked on niche shorts. Like, say, compare this to, say, the DFS Winter Sale advert for the LEGO Movie 2. The animation there is keeping with the LEGO humour, but it just doesn't look as high quality as the movies do. And when you look at the Turkish Airlines videos, the animation looks exactly like it came from the big screen movies. So it's pretty clear that they must have used the original animation studio to do these shorts. And that's just a great touch. Like the first airline safety video for Turkish Airlines, the second one was funny and had a lot of references to the previous LEGO movies. Like the first airline safety video, the second one was a big hit with many fans and people travelling on Turkish Airlines. It makes me wonder if they're going to do future ones tying into future LEGO movies in the franchise. But whether it does or not, we'll just have to wait and see. These Turkish Airlines safety videos are so hilarious that it just makes you want to watch them again and again and again, as everything tied into the LEGO Movie franchise does. The movies, the shorts, the TV adverts and so on and so forth. Whether you're travelling with Turkish Airlines or not, these two airline safety videos are a great way to get you hyped up for the movies and to go flying on an airplane. And I highly recommend them if you haven't seen them already. They have great comedy as you'd expect from the LEGO Movie franchise and anything that's involved in it, and they're just a great fun to watch if you want to watch stuff like this. So if you haven't seen any of these airline safety videos yet, definitely check them out. They're worth a watch, and you won't be disappointed with their hilarity. I'm Dalek44. I'll see you next time, folks.
Oh no, not the song. No! Yes! No! It's a party in the sky, let's pack our dreams and fly. It's a party in the sky, let's pack our dreams and fly. This is gonna get stuck in my head.
It's a party in the sky with Turkish Airlines.
I said turn them off.
Oh man.
Hey guys, Dalek44 here, I need no introduction, but I got one anyway. The Lego Movie became a worldwide phenomenon when it was released back in 2014, and it was so popular that Batman from the movie got spun off into his own movie, the Lego Batman Movie, and a soon-to-be-released sequel, as well as a movie based on the Ninjago franchise called the Lego Ninjago Movie, and a sequel titled The Lego Movie 2, the second part. And after Batman got his spin-off movie, the second character to get a spin-off in the form of a TV show was Unikitty. Unikitty is an animated television series produced by the Lego Group and Warner Brothers Animation for Cartoon Network, starring the character of the same name from the Lego Movie. It first aired on October the 27th in 2017, and it's been going strong ever since with 2 seasons so far. The premise of the show sees Princess Unikitty, ruler of Unikitdom, having various misadventures in her land with her little brother Prince Puppycorn, scientist Dr. Fox, bodyguard Hawkadile, and advisor Richard. They also deal with the threats of Master Frown from the neighbouring Frown Town. So as you'd expect, in my opinion, Unikitty is a great TV show. But what exactly is it that makes it such a great TV show? The show is seen as an adventure, comedy, family, fantasy musical series, which is quite fitting for this character since we know her from the Lego Movie, and that's the type of character that she is. And of course, having Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the original creators of the Lego Movie, as well as the character being the executive producers, is a step in the right direction, because if anybody knows the character best, they do. Princess Unikitty, voiced by Tara Strong, is the princess of Unikingdom, who is a cat-unicorn hybrid. Like in the movie, she is very happy, playful, cute and upbeat, but has an angry side that she sometimes struggles to control. One definite winner for this show is getting Tara Strong herself to voice Unikitty. Anything with Tara Strong in it is usually a great project. With one exception, of course. Some might think it kinda cheap to not have Alison Bray from the original film voice of the character in the show, but I honestly love Tara Strong's performance. She gives one of the best performances in this show. Unikitty has become one of my favourite Tara Strong roles, along with many others including Batgirl, Young Celeste, Bubbles, Twilight Sparkle, Raven, Angel, and a bunch of others we don't need to mention. In fact, every time I hear Tara Strong saying her lines for Unikitty, I can tell that she must have been having a hell of a fun time voicing this character. In fact, I think every single actor that's voiced the characters in this show have a lot of fun voicing these characters and saying these hilarious lines. She's pretty much the same old cute unicorn cat that we all know her from the Lego Movie, and for me she steals the show every time she's on screen. You just never know what cute adorable thing she's going to do next. Prince Puppycorn, voiced by Greg Griffin, is Unikitty's younger brother, a pug-unicorn hybrid. He is sometimes clueless and dim-witted, but is also loyal and good-hearted. This character is what I can best describe as the comic relief of the show, doing stupid stuff and acting stupid, but getting a laugh out of everyone that watches him. And unlike other stupid characters whose idiotic antics would get really old really fast, Puppycorn's antics just keep us laughing every time we watch the show. Puppycorn just makes such a great comic relief for this show, and it's impossible not to love all the antics that he gets up to. And he's the type of character who pretty much steals the show every time he's on screen. Some of his best moments are when he's working off his big sister Unikitty, whether they're doing their sibling rivalry thing, or doing stuff together, or just being together on screen in general.
Oh no! My favorite coop! It's out of my favorite thing! This is a disaster! No, little bro, this is great! Ever heard of a little lady called the tooth fairy? Who's that?
Dr. Voice, by Cat Mikusi, I'm not sure if I said that rightly, is a red fox who is the castle's resident scientist who experiments and inventions and can both create and resolve problems. Dr. Fox is voiced by the current voice actor who voices Velma in Scooby-Doo at the moment. And she's one of those crazy scientists who thinks she has an answer for everything, but she ends up causing more problems than she plans to resolve at times. She also works with a group of small robots that she created for the castle's laboratory, and her inventions are normally the things that get the characters into the pickles they have to get themselves out of. She could get quite intense when it comes to solving a problem with science, like say magic and how it works. But deep down she's a good-hearted scientist who just wants to make inventions for the greater good. Hawkadile, voiced by Roger Craig Smith, is Unikitty's trusty hawk-crocodile hybrid bodyguard who has a macho personality and has a crush on Dr. Fox. Yep, you heard me right, guys. Roger Craig Smith, the current voice of Sonic the Hedgehog, is the voice of Hawkadile. He's the sort of bodyguard that likes to go around punching and kicking stuff and people as he feels is the best solution to problems. And as I said, he has a huge crush on Dr. Fox and tries to hide it. But even though it's obvious to the audience, it's not so obvious to everyone around him, including Dr. Fox. And I really enjoy this relationship between Hawk and Dr. Fox, and I really want to see where it goes further in the show as it goes on. And there's Richard, also voiced by Roger Craig Smith, a grey 1x3 Lego brick who is Unikitty's royal advisor and the castle's property caretaker. He speaks with a dull, monotone voice and is often the voice of reason, though the others find him boring to listen to. Out of all the characters in this show, Richard seems to be the only one with any common sense in the show, as he normally speaks his mind and brings logic into situations. But as I said, nobody really listens to him because his voice is really dull and boring. And just listening to this guy's voice, it's really hard to believe that Sonic the Hedgehog voices him because you wouldn't expect this kind of voice to come out of this actor's mouth. Having Sonic the Hedgehog's current voice actor voice Hawkadile and Richard is quite amazing to me. In fact, when I first heard it, I could hardly believe that it was Sonic the Hedgehog himself voicing these two characters. And the main villain of the show is Master Frown, voiced by Eric Bioze, Unikitty's archenemy who comes from Frowntown on the other side of Unikitty's kingdom. He is one of the Doom Lords that spreads pain and misery throughout the world as he wants to impress the other Doom Lords. This often causes him to suffer the wrath of Unikitty, who wants to spread fun and joy. Much like Dr. Robotnik from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, Master Frown comes across to me as more of an annoyance than a dominant threat to the characters, especially when it comes to his wacky, quite annoying schemes at times. And Master Frown isn't exactly the kind of villain that you could take seriously, as he's more of a fun comedic villain that you're used to seeing in old cartoon shows. And the last main character is Brock, voiced by H. Michael Kroner, an anthropomorphic headstone with a neutral personality who is Master Frown's best friend, sidekick and roommate. Brock would often hang around his apartment playing video games rather than help Master Frown with his plots. The only time he gets angry is when Master Frown neglects his part of the chores, and it's quite hard to believe that this guy was actually born in Frowntown because of his personality and the fact that he actually likes Unikitty and her friends. He's almost like the Constantine of the show, a guy who works for the main villain but is more of a nice guy than a bad sidekick. And there's so many other characters in the show that it's really going to be hard to list them all. But there's many characters there, including Phoebe, Dino Guy, Tiger Lope, the list goes on. And most of their character designs are quite unimaginative compared to the other characters, as they just look really blocky and whatnot. But I suppose you could say that the unimaginative designs of the characters and their blocky looks is a reference to the Lego bricks they were made out of in some of the sets they came out in. And that's quite funny to say, since in the summer of 2018 some Lego sets were made based on the show, including buildable sets and minifigure sets which included Unikitty and Puppycorn. And whether there'll be another wave of Unikitty Lego sets or not, we'll just have to wait and see. Another great thing about Unikitty is the parodies they do in some of the episodes they've done, like the Batman episode for instance. As well as featuring memorable characters that you love to love, the show also has a lot of great parodies in it, including movies, TV shows, video games and all that stuff. One of the best ones being the Batman episode where Unikitty finds Batman's batsuit and goes on a crime-stopping spree as Batman. And the most hilarious part of this is that they actually got Will Arnett himself, the original voice of Lego Batman, to voice Unikitty when she wears the suit. showing that there's some continuity in the Lego Movie franchise with the Unikitty show. In fact, I loved that Bat-Kitty episode so much that I'm waiting for them to do another minifigure series of Unikitty just to have Bat-Kitty in the set. That would be awesome. And speaking of Lego Movie continuity, every opening scene in the show has stop motion characters of Lego doing stuff and then stopping what they're doing to watch the show. This is just a fun creative thing that brings Unikitty into the Lego Movie franchise. And it's especially proven when Mrs. Scratchen Post and a few of her cats stop in the streets to watch the show from a TV shop. Another one of my favourite parodies is when they do the Buddy Cop episode, Kitty and Hawk, because it plays on the things you'd expect to see in a Buddy Cop movie, like cool stunt driving, catchy one-liners, the good cop bad cop routine, and all that stuff.
You're my best friend.
No.
You're the rock and roll.
It's my line.
Time for a hug.
What? No.
You have the right, Jeremy.
Ah, none of this is working.
And one hilarious one is when they do a reference to Friday the 13th in the Scary Stories episode, because I never expected to see a version of Jason Voorhees get scared and run away from Crocodile. That's hilarious. Another factor that makes this show one of the best things around is the animation style. Much like Teen Titans Go, this show takes a lot of reference and inspiration from animes, with wacky facial expressions from the characters, mostly Unikitty. And that really makes sense since Unikitty from the Lego Movie is based on an anime, with her facial expressions and the way she speaks and whatnot. So it really makes sense to have anime-inspired animations here. One of the funniest things being extreme close-ups of the characters' faces.
You can wish for anything you want. Anything.
And they even got famous Japanese band Baby Metal to do the theme tune for the show. That just adds some nice Japanese culture to the show. Another great aspect of the show is the musical numbers in certain episodes. Every now and then the characters would sing how they feel about a certain thing. And most of them come from Unikitty herself. And this just shows that Tara Strong has a beautiful voice and they never should have replaced her voice in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic for the musical numbers. I mean, come on, why the hell wouldn't you let Tara Strong sing the songs? But I digress. The show's been going on since 2017 and is still going today into its second season with 69 episodes so far. And the best place to check them out is Cartoon Network, where you can see all 69 episodes on Cartoon Network so far. So for me, what makes Unikitty such a great show is the voice acting, the writing, the comedy, the references, and just the cuteness of Unikitty herself. All those factors that I mentioned is what, in my opinion, makes Unikitty one of the best animated shows of today. With great animation, great comedy, great parodies, great musical numbers, and a great cast of characters and voice actors, and great inspirations from animes and other movies and TV shows, Unikitty is without a doubt one of the best shows Cartoon Network's created since Regular Show and The Amazing World of Gumball. And if you haven't seen the show yet, I'd highly recommend checking it out, especially if you're a fan of the Lego Movie and just a fan of animation. I guarantee that you'll get a lot of pleasure out of this show, and it's a great way to cheer you up if you've had a bad day. Unikitty's cute moments and antics will just be guaranteed to cheer you up if you've been having a tough day at work. And for all those reasons and more, Unikitty is one of the best cartoon shows that I've seen in a long time. And I hope to see more episodes and Lego sets based on the show in the future. I'm Dalek44, and I'll see you next time, folks.
Oh man.
Oh, hey guys, I'm Dalek44. I have no introduction, but I got one anyway. In case you're wondering why I'm dancing, me and my friends here are celebrating me getting over 2,000 subscribers. Thanks for 2,000 subscribers, guys. It just took me a while to thank you lot and do this party because I don't check my channel updates very often. I'm a very lazy man. Another thing that has me in a party mood is the LEGO Movie 2, the second part. In 2014, the LEGO Movie was released in cinemas, a film that was so good that it surprised people and got them upset when it wasn't nominated for Best Animated Film. Then in 2017, the LEGO Batman movie, the first spin-off to the film, came out, and was another hit in the box office. Then in the same year, the LEGO Ninjago movie came out, and it wasn't exactly the major hit that the LEGO movie and the LEGO Batman movie was, but it still brought in the money. Then in February 2019, the LEGO Movie 2, the second part, was released in cinemas, the sequel to the first LEGO movie. And with the LEGO Movie franchise being as big a franchise as possibly the Marvel Cinematic Universe, how does the sequel hold up? Let's find out, folks. 5 years have passed since the events of Taco Tuesday after the Duplo invasion. Yeah, that's kind of a spoiler from the first movie. And the now teenaged Finn has rebuilt Bricksburg into the post-apocalyptic wasteland known as Apocalypseburg, which is explained in the LEGO universe as a result of the repeated Duplo invasions. While this new life has hardened most of the citizens, Emmett remains upbeat, building a dream home for himself and Lucy, aka Wildstar, who fears the home will invite another attack, and tells Emmett that he needs to adapt to their harsh new world. Not long after this, a mini-doll named General Sweet Mayhem arrives looking for Apocalypseburg's leader and captures Batman, Lucy, Benny, Metalbeard and Unikitty and flown to the Sistar system. There, Queen Whatever Wanabe tempts the group into supporting her. Although Batman is initially tricked into agreeing to marry Wanabe, the two eventually fall in love. Meanwhile, Emmett tries to convince the Master Builders that they need to rescue the captured characters, but they refuse to help him. He converts his house into a spaceship and travels through the stairgate, out of the basement, where he is saved from an asteroid field by a rugged adventurer named Rex Dangervest. Emmett begins to toughen up by mimicking Rex, hoping to impress Lucy. Lucy and her friends are taken to a spa, but believing that the others are being brainwashed by music, Lucy escapes to find Emmett. Meanwhile, Rex and Emmett arrive in the Sistar system, encountering and evading its inhabitants before finding Lucy. Concluding that the wedding is a front for Armageddon, a catastrophic event Emmett dreamed about, Emmett devises a plan to save their friends and destroy the temple. But after battling Sweet Mayhem, Lucy discovers that the Sistar system is as evil as they think, and that Rex might be the real bad guy here. And she has to save Emmett from Rex before it's too late. So is the LEGO Movie 2 as good as the first LEGO movie as well as the spin-offs? Yes. Yes, it is. When the LEGO Movie 2 was first announced, everyone didn't know what to expect from it. Was it going to be as good as the first movie, or would it not be able to hold up a candle to the first movie? But in my opinion, it's just as good as the first movie because of its keeping up the tradition of the LEGO Movie franchise, as well as the references to the previous movie, as well as the LEGO Batman movie. The movie does a great job of taking everything that made the original LEGO movie so good and expanding upon the universe. Along with the characters we all know and love, we also get a host of new characters. With the original cast, there's Emmett Bukowski, played by Chris Pratt, an everyman construction worker and experienced master builder from Bricksburg. He's pretty much the same old Emmett that we knew him from the first movie. Happy-go-lucky everyman who tries to fit in but doesn't seem to fit in very well with his environment. But as the movie goes on, when he meets Rex Dangervest, he eventually learns to toughen up his heart and be a bit more serious with things. You could say that Emmett represents what's left of Finn's childhood memories, being the naive, innocent character that he was in the original film. There's Lucy, aka Wildstar, played by Elizabeth Banks, a fellow master builder and Emmett's unofficial girlfriend. Lucy's still the same old Lucy/Wildstar from the first film, but in this movie we'd learn a bit more of her sensitive side, like what she was like before she became the Wildstar we knew her as in the movies. I won't give away too much for the two of you who haven't seen this movie, but the reveals about Lucy, aka Wildstar, is just so unexpected for me the first time I watched it. It's just some good character development for her. There's Batman, voiced by Will Arnett, a DC Comics superhero who is also a master builder. He's just as hilarious as he was in the first film and the Lego Batman movie. While Batman is still the egotistical Batman we love this version of the character for, the movie has him diving into something that he's never had to deal with in any of his previous incarnations. Marriage. That's both ridiculous and super hilarious at the same time.
Batman is a permanent bachelor. Can you imagine if having a family with someone I love healed some of my darkest trauma?
The other original characters include Benny, the 1980-something space guy voiced by Charlie Day, Metalbeard, a master beard who is a large bionic pirate voiced by Nick Offerman, Alfred Pennyworth, Batman's butler played by Ray Fiennes returns, and we also get moments with Harley Quinn and the Justice League. Even President Business voiced by Will Arnett returns in the movie, but only for brief cameo scenes where he tries to stop the invasion of the Duplos and then just goes away to play golf while doing nothing to help.
A phony! A big fat phony!
And of course we get my favourite character, Unikitty, voiced by Alan Bray. In the sequel, instead of turning red when angry, she's red altogether. Over the years since the first film, she has developed the ability to become a giant version of herself called Ultra Catty when a battle is about to occur. As many of you know, Unikitty is one of my favourite LEGO movie characters, and her getting a bigger part in another movie was something that I've wanted to see ever since the first movie. And the sequel does just that. In fact, there's a couple of moments in the movie where she's trying to get back in the movie from time to time, which is something I've nicknamed Unikitty trying to get more appearances in the movie scenes. Similar to Looney Tunes Back in Action, where every scene has live action actors and the characters from the Looney Tunes tend to try and get back into the camera as much as possible, Unikitty sort of does that throughout this movie. Like in the intermission scene.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
That still cracks me up. Even when the movie's ending, she pokes her head in as an anime character would just so she could get one final moment in the movie. It's almost as if she's aware that this is a movie and she's trying to get back on camera every moment she can. This is just one of the reasons I love the character so much. And among the new characters, we have Rex Dangervest, also voiced by Chris Pratt, a self-declared galaxy-defending archaeologist, cowboy and raptor trainer. The character is basically a spoof of the action roles played by Pratt, including Star-Lord from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Owen Grady from Jurassic World, and Joshua Faraday from the 2016 remake of The Magnificent Seven. There's also a reference to rumours of Pratt playing Indiana Jones. Sure, at first Rex Dangervest seems like a parody of the various tough guy acts that Chris Pratt has played over the years, but similar to how Emmett represents Finn's childhood memories, Rex seems to represent the adultness in Finn, the tough, gritty action hero type of Finn that you see a lot. And beware, because there's a major spoiler for like the two of you who haven't seen this movie. By the end of the film, he is revealed to be Emmett's future self, having assembled a time machine from Lego sets based on Back to the Future, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, H.G. Wells' Time Machine, Doctor Who, The Terminator, and Hot Tub Time Machine. This was a movie twist that I never saw coming the first time I watched the movie. And in a way it does sort of make sense since both characters are voiced by Chris Pratt, but they just did a great job at keeping it a secret until the end that you never saw it coming. And that kind of thing just makes a great twist in the movie, as well as adding in a time travel subplot. Looking back at this film, I kind of see Rex as the Flash Heart of the movie. You know, someone who's full of himself, loves himself, and is sure to let everybody else know how great he is. You know, if Flash Heart was child-friendly, that is.
Well, that's how I like my girls. Direct and to my point. Whoa! Tally ho then, back to the bar.
There's General Sweet Mayhem, voiced by Stephanie Beatrice, an intergalactic mini-doll who is general and law enforcer of the Sistar System army and works under the orders of Queen Whatever Wanabe. The first time I saw a glimpse of this character was in a poster for the LEGO Movie 2 where we see her helmet and the main characters reflecting off her shield. And before we knew what she looked like under the mask, Sweet Mayhem just looked quite awesome. Ever since the first teaser poster of this movie came out, I've always seen Sweet Mayhem as the sort of Boba Fett of the movie. Someone who wears an awesome armour and mask that hides her face, but looks really awesome despite looking like a doll minifigure. And it was also very interesting introducing her as a mini doll figure, making her different from all the other characters, as well as fitting into her own environment in the Sistar System. And the final new character is Queen Whatever Wanabe, voiced by Tiffany Haddish, a shape-shifting alien queen from the Sistar system. Animation-wise, Whatever Wanabe is the most interesting looking character. And I think the animators must have been having a hell of a lot of fun coming up with these various designs for the character, while sticking to the limitations of the bricks used. I mean, it's just so clever how they managed to use various Lego bricks to create her different forms while staying true to their limitations. It's just really clever how they managed to pull it off with this character.
I'm Queen Whatever of Wanabe. I could change my form to something else that just makes you uncomfortable.
No, go back. The horse was much more palatable.
Like the previous films, the animation was done in a way which makes it look like a stop-motion movie, with the limitations of the Lego minifigures and the mini-doll figures. I mean, literally, when you see the mini-dolls like Sweet Mayhem moving, they just hop around on the screen since they can't move their legs. That's just a great way to keep in true with their limitations. Like the previous movies, most of the effects you see are made out of Lego bricks, and they all stick to the limitations of the bricks and pieces of minifig, while exaggerating some moves but still sticking to their limitations. And quite like in the previous movies, where most elements were made out of Lego and some elements were made out of real-life elements, like the relics from the first movie, water and smoke from the Lego Batman movie, and pretty much 50% of everything in the Lego Ninjago movie. But here the only things that are made out of real-life objects is really the stuff that comes from the Sistar system, like the stickers from Sweet Mayhem's sticker gun, as well as some sparkly things like water that comes from the Sistar system, which really keeps in true with Finn's little sister Bianca, especially when you see her bedroom near the end of the film. A lot of the sparkly waters and things just represents things in her bedroom like curtains and whatnot. And once again they managed to pull off the animation to make it look like it's a stop-motion movie. And I love how the film was written, that it took place 5 years after the events of the first film, keeping in with the ages of Finn and Bianca, since Finn was a kid back in the first film and now he's a little bit of an older kid in this film. When the movie was first announced, it was said that it was going to be a space travel movie. Then it was later revealed to be a space travel musical film, which took everyone by surprise since the first film wasn't a musical at all. But this film managed to pull it off really well with their musical numbers. Of course, this isn't exactly a huge musical movie like most Disney films and Broadway musicals you see, but they do take advantage of every song they do make in the movie and have a lot of fun with them. So we get some really good showstoppers like the Tween Dream remix of Everything Is Awesome. The very short but to the point 5:15. The Welcome to the Sistar System chant. Not Evil with Queen Whatever Wanabe singing about how not evil she is. But the way they play it off just makes it seem misleading, thinking that she's lying about everything. Catchy song, which is a new earworm, which tops Everything Is Awesome in my opinion. Like Everything Is Awesome for the original movie, Catchy Song is one of those catchy as hell songs that you won't be forgetting anytime soon. I mean, seriously, the first time I heard it, I couldn't stop myself singing along to it every time I heard it. It's that catchy. Gotham City Guys, which shows Whatever Wanabe trying to play at Batman's ego, as well as fitting in a few Batman references here and there. I honestly never expected to see so many Batman references come from this 2-minute song. Mostly with live action actors that's played in, from Adam West to Ben Affleck. But it's still some great references and sort of carries on the continuity from the Lego Batman movie, where they make references to the previous incarnations of the Caped Crusader. Everything's Not Awesome, a sequel to Everything Is Awesome, played out as a sad song and then turns into a happy song at the end.
Everything's not awesome. Everything's not cool. I am so depressed.
And Super Cool, which plays at the end of the credits, which pretty much demolishes the fourth wall. Literally. Yeah, I'm not joking, just listen to the song and you'll hear them demolishing the fourth wall. And speaking of breaking the fourth wall, I find it absolutely hilarious in the moments when Wildstar, aka Lucy, and Batman guess whenever a musical moment's gonna appear.
Oh no, are we in a musical? I hate musicals.
Oh great, more singing right on time.
It's like they've read the script for the movie or something, and that when the music starts, they know that someone's gonna start singing about something. That's just great writing on the team's behalf. Like the previous film, this movie has so many references and appearances from other LEGO characters, such as Harley Quinn, Abraham Lincoln coming back from the previous film, Velma from Scooby-Doo, and we even get cameos from the Wizard of Oz characters. That's something that you wouldn't have expected in this movie unless you bought the LEGO Movie 2 minifigure series, because the first time we saw these characters in LEGO form was in LEGO Dimensions. And then we got to see the Wicked Witch of the West and the Flying Monkeys in the LEGO Batman movie as part of Joker's army, so it would make sense that they would bring in the main characters for the sequel. That's just some great continuity to the previous films. And speaking of continuity, they actually do a great job of tying in the LEGO Batman movie with this universe, by having scenes where the characters would often point out that the LEGO Batman movie was Batman's standalone adventure. And it also explains why the Justice League didn't show up in the final battle of the LEGO Batman movie. It was because they went off to the Sistar system to try and stop the aliens from invading again. It's just some great moments like that that ties up the loose ends from the LEGO Batman movie. They even put in some really good nods to the Unikitty TV series on Cartoon Network, by having Unikitty slide into a sparkle pool from her castle with Puppycorn watching. And there's even a little bit in the real world where Bianca's room has a Unikitty plush toy from the TV series, showing that the TV series does exist in this universe. And some fans have theorised that the TV series probably takes place after the events of the second movie. Now, nothing's been confirmed for this theory, but it is a very interesting theory, especially when you consider that LEGO Batman actually appeared in one of the Unikitty episodes as LEGO Batman, in stop motion. There are even these random moments from Bruce Willis playing a LEGO version of himself. That's the kind of thing that you wouldn't expect in a kids film to have a reference to Die Hard. We also have Richard Ayoade, I'm not sure if I said that correctly, as a talking ice cream cone who is a citizen of the Sistar system and Queen Whatever Wanabe's right-hand character. Now, for those of you who recognise his voice somehow, it's because he played Moss in the IT Crowd TV series. And he just has one of the most recognisable voices in the world, that you just know that it's him. And he plays off this seemingly not so cheerful ice cream cone really well. And it's quite funny considering that in the Unikitty Sweet Friends set you see the ice cream cone with a smiling face, when throughout the movie he mostly frowns and has a miserable looking face. That's really funny when you buy the set. The LEGO Movie 2 is definitely a great follow-up to the first LEGO movie in my book. It's got great animation, great acting, great humour, great songs, and it's just an all-around great movie as well as a great sequel. It ties up the loose ends for the LEGO Batman movie and fills in the cliffhanger from the first LEGO movie, as well as filling in some of its awesome moments on its own. The LEGO Movie 2 is a great addition to the LEGO Movie franchise, as well as a great sequel to the first movie. And if you haven't seen this movie yet, I'd highly recommend checking it out for yourself. You'll have a great time with the LEGO animation, LEGO comedy, and the great characters that are involved. So definitely go check it out if you haven't seen it already. It's worth it. I'm Dalek44, and thanks for over 2,000 subscribers, folks. Now let's get back to that party. This song is stuck in my head, folks, and my head loves it.